incumbent's out of control and the gas tank is full, but the brake line has been cut and you have no inhibition for your pleasure center. This is a study by Nora Volkoff, who is the medical director of the National Institute of Drug Abuse. And what you're looking at in these slides is you're looking down at someone's brain. Remember, your brain is symmetric, so you have a pleasure center on both sides of your brain. And on the left, you're looking at 3 normal, healthy people, and you're looking at the dopamine inside their pleasure centers. That's the red area. So the red that you see is a normal amount of dopamine, giving you a normal amount of pleasure. Now look at the right. We have a cocaine addict, an alcoholic, and a heroin addict. And you can see that in each slide there's much less dopamine. And this is one theory of addiction called the reward deficiency syndrome that says that addicts have less dopamine, they have less pleasure, they feel terrible, so they spend all their lives trying to catch up by using behaviors and drugs that give them more pleasure than normal life does. Heroin gives you more pleasure than a candy bar. Now, people don't really dispute that. Okay? Now, there's one problem with this theory, and it's been raised. You can say, well, all you're looking at is brain damage. If you use drugs, you burn out your brain. So the 3 people on the right are brain damaged from using drugs. Okay, let's see if there's any additional evidence. This is a study done in California where they took people, and they was volunteers. These are people who were not using drugs yet. They had negative drug screens. There's like 20 of them. I don't know how they found 20 in California. But they took these people, they did brain scans, and then they injected them with IV Ritalin, methylphenidate. That would be similar to you injecting yourself with methamphetamine. And they asked them, did you enjoy that? Now, most of the audience, not all the audience, I can tell you, would find that to be a terrible experience. You'd be shaky, your heart would race, you'd get chest pain. A lot of us would think that was heaven, okay? Most of us not. So here's someone who said, this was terrible. Look at their brain. There's a normal amount of dopamine. Here's someone who said, can I have more? Look at their dopamine. These people have not started using drugs. They had negative drug screens. People who are born with less dopamine enjoy drugs more than people who are born with normal dopamine. So that's where the genetics come in. And genetics probably accounts for half of addiction. And the genetics part may be your dopamine activity or amount or receptors or whatever is defective. And this is the rest of the study. Here are the folks who enjoyed it. Look at the lower levels. Here are the folks who didn't enjoy it. Look at the higher levels. So the conclusion is that addiction is an abnormal response to a drug or reward, in this case the reward